Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great MMS. I'm sure there have been some really cool sessions, and it's amazing to see some of the great work that we've been doing. My name is Ele Ocholi. I'm a program manager up in Cambridge with the MDOP team. I had the privilege of working on application virtualization 5.0. I worked on various aspects of the product, including extensions, parts of the server, a little bit of sequencer. And so if you do have questions on that, feel free to ask me later after. I also worked closely with the Office team on Office 2013 Click to Run. And I'm really proud of the work that we've been able to do to deliver AppV 5.0 and Office better together. Today we're going to get to know AppV 5.0 a little bit. I'm going to show you how some of those key technologies allowed us create this AppV package. I'm going to walk you through how to use the Office deployment tool to create the AppV package. And then we're also going to talk about Office 2010 on AppV 5.0. But first, let's go through a bit of history and context. Back in 2006, Microsoft acquired Softricity, and the journey began. A lot of customers enjoyed the fact that you could use application virtualization to stream your applications on demand. You could isolate applications from each other, as well as other benefits. And of course, you wanted to be able to do this for Office. And so we provided you a sequencing recipe to improve the sequencing process so you could get a version of Office up and running. You wanted some more features around the integration of Office with the native system. So we provided the deployment kit. We provided an Office package accelerator. And then with AppV 5.0, I'm proud to say we finally realized the dream of a fully functioning version of Office that works well with AppV, that you can leverage in your environment. And the important part there is no sequencing. Also, we are supporting Office 2010 on AppV. So let's get to know AppV 5.0 a little more. There are three major pillars that encapsulate the focus we had with AppV 5.0. Firstly, it's an integrated platform. Quite simply, that means no Q drive. We use standard Windows formats so that the registry is within the registry. The file system is within the Windows file system. It's more open. You don't need a special launcher to get to files. There is no drive letter required. Next, we provided flexible virtualization. You already had shortcuts and file types in 4.6, and so we heard the feedback that we wanted better ways of virtual applications integrating with our native OS and with our native system. We provided virtual application extensions to better improve those experiences. But we also know there's a lot of customers who love the isolation and what they gain from isolation. So we provided dynamic configuration. This allows you to determine how integrated or how isolated you want your packages to be. We also provided you an improved way of connecting virtual applications together. Finally, powerful management. With our AppV server, we provided you a nice, shiny new UI that is web-based. We also leveraged PowerShell so you can run through all your management tasks and automate them, including creating a package, converting from 4.6 forward, publishing to your server, importing to your server, publishing to your client, and so on and so forth. And I'll run you through some of these commands, but we have a great session tomorrow, which I want to plug, that goes into even more detail on some of that work on AppV 5. And I'll give you more information about that session soon. So how does 5.0 compare to 4.6? As I mentioned before, no Q drive. Enough said. there's no longer a 4 gigabyte package limit. So for those meaty applications that you could not get on before, now you can feel free to go ahead and sequence those. There is no 4 gigabyte limit. We know in 4.6 you already had the isolation, but as I explained, we provided you virtual application extensions for those cases where you do want better integration with the native system. And this works great with Office in order to deliver to you the full feature set. In 4.6, you could use dynamic configuration to connect virtual applications together. And so we took that further in 5.0, making it a smoother process. And so you don't have to touch the packages themselves. You can just deploy a connection group easily to the client, and it knows to combine those packages. That allows you to use, of course, your Office add-ins and so on with your virtual Office package. In 4.6, I don't know how many of you had tried to use the shared cache. There are quite a few steps to set that up, but we tried to smooth out that process a bit more with AppV 5.0. Now you use one client setting, switch to shared content, store mode, and you deploy your packages as you would if it was just the standard desktop installation or not. The client knows to launch applications and run them from your shared content store. We offered you some command line scripting with 4.6, but in 5.0, like I said, we leverage PowerShell on all three components, the sequencer, the client, and the server, to improve your management experiences and to give you more power. Finally, 4.6, you had the installed MMC snap-in. 5.0, we provided you a web-based server interface. And so now, once you've installed your server, you can use your client on a browser to access. And so, now that we know a bit more about AppV 5.0, what about using your Office 365 Pro Plus click-to-run package with AppV? This really is a revolution for you, our customers. It's very easy to build your AppV package. There is no sequencing required. In case you missed that, there is no sequencing required. Honestly, it's a very smooth process. There's also no extra deployment kit required, as you would when leveraging previous versions of 4.6. The package is really integrated with the native system, and so local applications have the ability to interact with Office to launch it as necessary to check for its presence. So we really made strides there to provide you with a full feature set. It works just like any other AppV package. So by that, I mean you get side-by-side support. For certain configurations, you can have multiple versions of Office on a given client. You can sequence and connect your add-ins. I'll actually be running through that in one of my demos. And you can use your AppV infrastructure to manage. So I'll be showing you how to use PowerShell to do certain things. You can use your AppV full server to manage your packages and add-ins, your Office package and add-ins. You can also use Config Manager 2012 SP1, which has deep AppV 5.0 integration to manage your packages. Finally, easy updates. And I'll talk a bit more about this as we go on. So how do you get this AppV package? And how do you get it to work? You build it using your Office deployment tool, which you get from our download center. As I mentioned before, the package is highly integrated with Windows. But you can also customize this package as you would of other AppV 5.0 packages using your deployment config. And this is really where it differs from your standard click-to-run installation. You can use your deployment config to define what kind of extension points that you want for your Office package, so you can edit those. You can select specific applications within your Office deployment. So the big example we like to use is Access. You may have some legacy Access databases, and so you don't want Office 2013 to launch those. You can use our dynamic deployment configurations to turn off all the extension points and all the ways that a user would launch Office Access 2013 to ensure that they keep using the version that you want. You have the control. One thing to note, though, is the package cannot be edited. That is, we do not support you opening this package with the sequencer. And honestly speaking, you don't need to and you don't want to. Everything you need and want to do to this package can be done via the Office deployment tool, as well as your dynamic configuration files. And we'll run through some of those. Finally, package upgrade is really easy. You download some bits, and you build a new package. And I'll still speak a bit more as we go forward. So let's talk a bit more about the Office deployment tool and how you use this. You download this tool from the Microsoft Download Center. So in your browser, you can go search online for Office deployment tool, and it should take you there. You download it, you accept the EULA, and it gives you these two files, your configuration.xml, as well as your setup.exe files. Now, please pay attention here, because this is what you need to do to create your package. You download your click-to-run bits by using the download flag with the Office deployment tool. And then you build your AppV package using the Office deployment tool and the packager flag. 2 commands you run in the command line, and then you're done. Again, 2 steps. You download the latest bits from the Office CDN using the command line that I've placed up there, setup.exe/download, supplying a configuration file. And then you build your Office AppV package using the same tool, using the packager flag with the configuration file and the location you want your bits to be set. And that's it. Very easy, very smooth. You can also find logs and troubleshooting information within your temp file. And you can configure where you want your logs to be. So how about we walk through some demos and what it feels like to build this package. Get this set up. So here I have a Win8 x64 client with my AppV client already installed, actually. And I've gone ahead to download the click-to-run bits because it is a large file, and so it takes some time. So I'm going to show you the creation. I've already gone through step 1. But let's set the context a bit more. I'm an IT admin in a university, and I've gotten instructions after a meeting that, okay, we need to bring all our users to the latest and greatest version of Office. I know I don't want to sequence, but I've heard of this great Office deployment tool that makes my life really easy. So I have my configuration file. I'm going to go ahead and run the command line that I mentioned. Setup.exe/packager, supplying the configuration file, and also the location that I want the packages to be placed. And so while that goes on, I'm going to show you the configuration file itself. So with this file, this is a very basic version of this. But it's the same configuration file you would use to download the package as you would use to run the packager operation. When you download, you just tell the tool the version of Office, 64 or 32-bit, the path you want to store the bits at, and the product that you want. So in this case, it's Office 365 Pro Plus. You can mix and match, so you can add Visio, you can add Project, and then you can also define the language that you want. Here we're telling the tool where to place logs. Now, when you run the same command using the packager flag, what we're telling the tool is, this is where my source is, same detail of the version of Office and what I'm building, and that's it. Again, you can add more information, like if you want Visio, if you want Project, and different languages like Japanese and so on, all the languages that Office supports. This information is documented up on TechNet. You can get to it from the Download Center page and by searching for it. So at this stage, it's taken some time because the tool is going to extract all the Office files onto the system before beginning to build the package. At this stage, I'm going to go back to our presentation, and we'll come back afterwards. But really, I had already completed the 2 steps. I had gone ahead and downloaded the package, and I had run the tool to build your AppV package. That's it. Very simple, very smooth. For those of you who have known the joys of sequencing, I'm sure you're pretty excited about this development. I'm sorry, can you? So this is an Office 2013 click-to-run package that we're building. So he asked if it was the same process for Office 2013. And I'm saying it is the Office 2013 package we're building. So yes, the Office 365 will give you Office Click-to-Run, which is the same package, even though there's a bit of confusion there. You can get access to Office Click-to-Run bits using your Office 365 license. So what's the next stage? I already have my package, and I know that I want to customize it. In the same way, I'm that same IT pro in the university. I'm told that, yes, we have the legacy access databases. We don't want you to use Office 2013 access. With our deployment configurations, we provide you ways to turn on and off entire applications within your package. So you can turn off Access, you can turn off Excel. But we provide you even more power. If you want to go down to more individual levels, you can manage the various extension points or integration points for a given package. This includes shortcuts, file types, URL protocols, the default programs integration with a given package, and some others. So we provide you both levels. So how about we go back to our demo and run through this scenario as well. So we're back to the client. Once it finished extracting the files, it started going through the process of creating your AppV package. This includes things like creating the registry hive, the file system, ensuring that it creates an AppV manifest that conforms to our requirements based on the Office manifest. And so when it's done, give it a sec. There you go. The package was created successfully. And this is where it is. And so after we create the package, we give you some dynamic configuration files. I'm going to go ahead and edit it. So with this file, like I said, I can turn off access. I'm going to search for access 2013. Here we have a shortcut. I could go ahead and actually get rid of this shortcut here, but that doesn't achieve my scenario. I don't want to go through each and every extension point and turn them off. So we also provide you all the applications within this package. And if I go to the access application, I can disable it. And save that. And I'm ready to go. So I have my elevated PowerShell command prompt. My client is already installed. I'm going to go ahead and first add this package and publish it. So I'm adding the AppV client package. In our package out location. I'm going to supply a dynamic deployment configuration file, which we just edited. Then I'm going to pipe that into our publish command. Now, one thing to note is that we do support Office globally published, available to all users. So you get access to all the features that come with the package. And I'm going to go ahead and let that run. So at this stage, the client is opening up the package, running any scripts that it needs to that were set within the package or by the deployment config. So it takes the information both from the manifest within the package and the deployment config, combines them, and knows what extension points to put down and what extension points it shouldn't put down. Now, Office is a media application, and so this takes a little bit of time. But let's go ahead and see if our shortcuts are available yet. So we have Word. All right, okay. PowerPoint is doing well. Excel. How about Access? There you go. And so I've shown you using your shortcuts, but this happens for every single extension point. We know because you've turned off Access, we do the work for you of ensuring that none of the extension points for Access ever get wired into the system. And so the user can't launch it from the ways that they would know how to. So that's my second constraint as my IT pro that I've fulfilled. I could easily configure the applications within Office that I wanted. I didn't show this here, but I could easily go in and configure my shortcuts on a better level, my file type associations on a better level, URL, protocols, and any of the other extension points that we support. So what's the next thing I'm asked to do? I get a request from our engineering department that, okay, it's great, but we need a particular add-in. The professors want to be able to create some tests using an add-in that works with Word, for example. It's very easy to get that set up. First, you deploy your Office package, as I showed. You build your add-in package. Now, just to give you some more information here, some add-ins do, of course, require Office to already be installed on the machine before it actually installs itself. So you can use your standard click-to-run, install that on your clean sequencer machine, install the sequencer, and then create your add-in package. But yes, you deploy your Office package. After you have your add-in, you deploy that package too, independently. Now you can connect these two packages really easily with PowerShell or using our management tools available to you. I'm going to go ahead and run through this demo now using PowerShell. So here we have our Office has finished publishing. It's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and find the Semblio add-in, which is an education add-in that allows you to create tests and so on with Word. The thing to note here is that when you are combining an add-in with Office, you need to make sure it's integrated to about the same level. So the Office package comes with COM integrated, and we ensure that the objects are not being isolated as well. So we need to go in and make sure we do the same thing with your add-ins. So I'm going to search for COM mode. Here we notice it's isolated. I'm going to change it to integrated. Next, I want to make sure the objects are not being isolated. So I'm going to set that to false. I'm going to save that. And so now, I've deployed my Office package for step 1. Step 2, I'm going to go ahead and deploy my Semblio add-in. Package, I'm going to give it your dynamic deployment configuration file that we just edited. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pipe that through to publish. it needs to be published globally as well. And that happened really quickly. Your shortcut is already showing up. And so now we're ready to connect the packages together. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to do this again with PowerShell, showing you what actually is going on underneath the covers. The client receives a connection group document or file. And so it knows that, okay, these two packages that I have, I need to connect them together. If you've been to a booth, you've seen us do this with our UI from the AppV server. And you can also do this with your Config Manager 2012. But here I'm just going to make sure that the two versions of the packages that I want to connect are correct. So this is, yep, it's the correct package ID for Office. But it looks like, yeah, I just created this new one. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And then check that the Assemblio is the same. It is the same. So I'm going to save. And now I can simply add the connection group. Oops. Add AppV connection group. And then I'm going to enable that connection group. Remember, it must be enabled globally as well. And so we're good to go. Again, you could easily do this much simpler with our servers, either the Config Manager 2012 or SP1, or the AppV server, where you easily create two packages, connect them together, and publish them to a client. And then we take care of creating the files and all that for you. So if I go ahead and look for Word, when on a client, I can launch my Word. Here we are loading. Both packages and ensuring the connection group environment is being set up properly. And now Word is starting. And here we already have the add-ins being loaded. Very simple process. And this is independent of editing the packages a lot more themselves or telling each package which other package to look for. No, this is a separate connection group file. So you can't connect to the internet right now, but here we have the Assemblio add-in all integrated already. But you know, this is just for, I just want this to happen for my TAs, my professors, and all that. I have another group of finance people that don't need this add-in. I'm going to go ahead and remove this connection group and launch Word to show you. After I close this, I'm going to get the AppV client connection group. There's only one in the system, so I can get that one and pipe it to stopping the connection group, just in case there's some other processes running. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove your connection group. And there you have it. Again, you can use your server UIs to do this. If I look for Word, starting, and there is no add-in available. So because this is the first launch of Word, it's taken some time. Also because I created the package itself on this machine, and that takes a lot of space and memory. But as you saw there already, the add-in was not being loaded. So just give it a sec. I guess while it's getting a little bit ready, are there any questions that I could answer at this point? I can't see well, but yes? Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
When we sequence with 2010, you cannot sequence detailed version of Office.
Yep.
You have to have like volume license period. Now, the name of the package will be there.
So his question was, there's no limitation on using, is there no limitation now on using the retail version of Office to create this package? And yes, now you would be using, you have to use the retail version of Office, click to run, to create this package. All right, so if I close this, now you notice the add-in is gone. And here's a nice friendly reminder telling me to to activate my Word. And so I've shown you the 3 easy steps. Deploy your package, deploy both packages, and then create a connection group really easily. I encourage you to stop by our booth to see this scenario, but using our AppV server, and also to go to George's talk tomorrow at 4:30 on 4.6 and 5.0, migrating and coexistence. But he's really going to go into a lot of detail just about 5.0 as well. And so what about the upgrade scenarios? There is no need to use your AppV sequencer. It's actually the same 2 steps as creating a package fresh. You use your Office deployment tool to download the latest bits, the latest and greatest bits from the click-to-run CDN, and then you run the tool again to build your new version. Deploy that version straight to our clients. Because the package lineage is the same, next time the user launches, after there's been a sync, it would load the new version of Office that you need. Nice, easy, simple. There's a lot of information here. You can download this presentation later, but just comparing different ways of getting your Office click-to-run, your Office bits. The big thing, and why we say AppV 5.0 better together, is you get the benefits of using a full featured version of Office, updates, controlled by the administrator. You can use your virtual application connections, deploy them to different groups. You can deploy different combinations of apps, like I showed you, using Access. And you can customize it further. You can go down even to more individual extension points. There's a lot of information I'm sure you want around the new version of Office, including licensing, including when to use what version and what deployment. I'm not the Office expert, but I got this information right from them. They have this new site, the Microsoft Garage. It's actually a series of videos that walks you through everything you want to know and more about the Office 2013 click-to-run, Office Pro Plus, and Office 365. They have interviews with various engineers, asking them what were they thinking in some cases. But yeah, it's highly educational, and it walks you through so much more information. I highly encourage you to go there. This particular link takes you to the most recent video, but the Office blog hosts lots of older videos as well, including demo scripts, including automation, and lots of more information that you want about Office 2013. And so, we know a lot of you still have Office 2010 in your environments. And we wanted to tell you about how to use that with AppV 5.0. I don't know how many of you have heard yet, but this morning we announced that we have provided the next update of MDOP. And that includes AppV 5.0 SP1. And with that comes support for Office 2010 on SP1. Because it was some of the information that we heard from customers when we released RTM. It's like, hey, what about Office 2010? And so here you have it. What you have now is an Office sequencing kit. We have included package accelerators for Pro Plus on AppV 5.0. You still need your deployment kit. So you still need your Office deployment kit installed on your clients in order for the package to work. And what we guarantee is we give you parity with your Office 2010 deployments on 4.6. So you still get more with Office 2013, but you can leverage Office 2010 as you have it with 4.6 now on 5.0. That includes URL protocol redirection, print into a virtualized OneNote, and so on. How do you build this package? You install your sequencer, you download your sequencing kit and deployment kit, and then you follow the recipe. This is actually significantly better than with 4.6. We've included the sequencing kit to help you so you don't have to go in and start changing certain registry keys here and things of that nature. The recipe will show you how to use this kit and your deployment kit. Optionally, we're going to provide package accelerators as well. So we have an AppV package accelerator for Office Pro Plus English version on Windows 7, as well as a package accelerator for Windows 8 English. So now I'm just going to walk you through what this looks like. Let's get the VM up. All right, so I'm not going to walk through the entire sequencing process here because that takes some time, but I do encourage you to go ahead and try that as soon as you can. It is a smoother experience. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and add the package and publish the Office 2010 package for AppV 5.0. I will show you one thing first, though, that we added for you with AppV 5.0. So if you go into your programs and features, here, the Office deployment kit is not installed yet. We've actually provided you a way with 5.0 to include the Office deployment kit into your package. And so when you publish it, we will take care of laying that down for you and for the package to work. And the recipe will show you how to get this into the package. So here in this case, Office is a big application. We take some time to open up the package, go through each and every extension point, and attempt to create all the shortcuts, file types, and wire up the system in the way that you need. We also go ahead at this point to run the Office deployment kit and ensure that that's installed for you. There you have it. It's ready to run. I'm going to refresh this. And here you have your deployment kit installed. I'm going to launch Office, Word 2010. Let me give it a sec to run. Up and running as you need. And so that's it. What have we spoken about today? We got to know AppV 5.0, some of the cool new things that we did to make your Office experience a lot better. I walked you through how to create your Office package with no sequencing in 2 easy command line steps. Again, we're really happy to announce that we've provided AppV 5.0 SP1 with Office 2010 support, as well as support for a lot more languages than we had in the past. And we've provided recipes, an improved recipe, and package accelerators to also smooth out that process. We've also had a lot of sessions already, and 2 more that I would like to highlight tomorrow. If you want to know even more about App v50, you can come ask me questions, but I highly encourage you as well to go to George's session at 4:30 tomorrow. The Microsoft App v50 migration and coexistence session. He'll be covering a lot of information, everything you ever wanted to know about PowerShell and more, as well as the migration experience, going from 4.6 to 5.0 and coexisting both deployments. We also have a great session tomorrow on user experience virtualization, that's UEV, at 10:15. And I recommend that you go and find out. You're already virtualizing your applications. I'm sure there's a lot more that you want to do around virtualizing your user settings. And so I encourage you to go to that. We've had some really good sessions already, which I think you should watch videos on. We had a deploying and managing virtual applications and UEV settings session yesterday using Config Manager 2012 SP1. And that session really walked you through the different ways to deploy your AppV packages and things you would do with your Office package when deploying that on Config Man. So I highly recommend you go back and watch that. We also had 2 sessions, one on Dart and one on MBAM. Honestly, we also want to hear from you. All the content that we show you in these sessions, we improve over time based on your feedback. So please go in and give us some feedback. The video will be accessible on Channel 9. And so at this point, I just want to say thank you for listening, being a great audience, and open for questions. If you have a question, please go to one of the mics. And I can't really see properly, but I will try to.
Does this version of the App v50 2010 deployment kit fix the 2 problems that we have with, one, if after you install it, you can't sysprep the box anymore? And the other problem that we have is the Visio licensing. You can only get 1 version of Visio on the box.
So you're asking if the new deployment kit for 2010
For 2010.
fixes the 2 issues you've spoken about. As far as I know, what we've offered so far is exactly parity with 4.6. I have some AppV folks here. So if you can come up afterwards and I can get your information, but I can get back to you on if those 2 issues are fixed.
So I got a couple questions. Have you guys simplified or improved the ability to do the AppV sequencing for Office 2010? Because some of the commands are complex. I'm relaying some questions from the field right now, but and they're difficult to implement, and they'd be curious to see if any of that command line stuff was simplified with the new Service Pack 1 for App v50. Can you say anything about that?
So just to make sure I got the question, you're saying for Office 2010, is that what you said?
Yeah. Has the sequencing for it been improved at all by virtue of Service Pack 1?
I do believe it's improved.
Okay.
With that sequencing kit that we now provide that you can download, it goes through and captures a lot, automatically sets a bunch of settings for you that you need to set beforehand, but the recipe explains it. It is quite a few simplified steps, so I do believe we have
Okay, and the other question is with Visio project, can those be sequenced separately outside of the whole Office suite?
Yes.
And with Visio, we currently have an issue. We had a Premiere ticket. There's no resolution. You can't use the search feature for searching for shapes when you sequence Visio 2010. Has that been improved or fixed with Service Pack 1 for FE50? Is that something that got resolved with that? Do you know?
I am not aware that has been that has changed between 4.6 and 5.0.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
What? That's true. And we've also provided a package accelerator to improve the sequencing process as well, in answer to your first, for scripting, for sequencing Office 2010. We've provided package accelerators that you can script with that improves the sequencing process. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
You had made a statement earlier about AppV5 and registry. You're using the inherent Windows file system and registry. Does that mean that the registry is imported into the registry at instantiation or launch of the product, or it's always there? Because in 4.6, nothing exists until you launch the app. the registry entries or the files.
So just to be clear, you're asking if the registry information is always within the native.
If when you install the app, is the registry Hive loaded then or at launch of the application as it is in 4.6?
So a lot more information, a lot more publishing takes care of the extension points for the most part. And then we lay down the basic minimum required to launch the app also in the registry at that point. And then after you launch it, we lay down more.
Okay.
So everything that is required in the registry to launch the app, we put that down at publishing time. And then anything else we add over time. But it's already in the registry.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Can you go?
You showed how when you made Office 13 available, you used the dynamic configuration file to eliminate access, for example.
Yeah.
So if you have multiple groups of users who have different needs, would you just republish the same package with a different dynamic configuration file to a subset of users? So like one group just needed Word and Excel, and another needed PowerPoint and Access and everything. So you just would republish each of that with a different file?
So you need to be a bit careful when it comes to the dynamic deployment file. You can do that scenario for most packages. But the thing about Office is that because you need it globally published, that means it's going to affect the entire machine. So
What
if
if
all
you-
those users are running on the same machine, then not really.
You're talking about RDS deployments.
No, I'm saying once you globally
I'm
publish
talking about RDS deployments.
Oh, you're
where
talking about
The
RDS.
same users on, different users on a box might have different requirements for different versions of Office.
So, in general, because it's globally published,
Does it have to be?
every user, Office supports the AppV package globally published, yes,
That's the only way it's supported,
right now.
not to subsets of users?
If you don't deploy it globally, then you miss out on a bunch of features. And Office in general does not, and we as a whole, we don't encourage you to do that. So that's, right now, it's supported deploying globally.
Okay. Well, and then my second question was about with Office 2010, does it have the same or equivalent using dynamic configuration files to change the configuration of it? Or does it use a different method? 'Cause
You would use exactly the same method.
Okay.
And you can use that method on any AppV file.
Okay.
The difference is if it's an application that doesn't need, for example, to be globally published, then you can use the user configurations for a given user, you can configure your shortcuts, your file types, or applications that are available. Now, something that you can try, as I was speaking to someone yesterday, is you can deploy globally using your deployment config file, but you can turn off all your extension points for that file, and then you can use a user file to turn on extensions for specific users. But just to be clear, every user will have access to launch it if they know where to launch it from.
Okay, let me, again, if I could, my specific use case is that we have multiple users on RDS, and we wanted to make it so some of them could have Office 13 and some of them could have Office 2010 running on load balanced set of RDS servers. So we don't have to configure silos based solely on Office, which we do today.
Okay. So the question is, can you do what I just described? Is that the question?
Well, mixing Office 2010 and Office 13 AppV packages published to users on RDS on the same servers.
So you can mix, but you have to be careful. Because both packages, it sounds like, are going to be integrated into the system. Firstly, the second package that makes it will probably take over the extension points first for a given user. And so I've experienced this personally, where I made sure that the Office 2010 package went down first. But you have to be very careful because Windows as a whole only supports for a given extension one application winning over the other. So if you have both, you have to ensure that there's a minimum conflict. So you turn off the extensions you need for one and turn on the extensions you need for another. There are some licensing concerns that you need to look into for RDS, but I don't have the full information with me. I would recommend you go to the site that I pointed you to or talk to any Office reps that you know of that service your organization.
Okay, thank you.
Can you give us some suggestions or tips on dealing with like security updates to the Office suite. So for instance, do I need to resequence the entire suite when I have a round of updates come out for it?
Yes, currently, to update your Office, you take the tool and it builds you a new package with all the updates that you need, and then you deploy that.
So there isn't a way to roll in updates to a current package?
No.
Okay.
So with licensing Office 2010, for instance, and you have it sequenced and we're using KMS licenses, what needs to be done to get that to work and activate properly in AppV? Is it already sequenced? I'm not a sequencer. I own the service. I just don't actually do the hands-on work. Does it sequence the activated Office when it gets built up on the clean machine, and then licensing activation is not necessary?
I missed the beginning of that.
The scenario?
Yeah.
When you sequence Office 2010,
Yeah.
and right now we use KMS licenses when we're using our MSI-based installs, how does Office 2010, or even newer versions for that matter, activate when it's being delivered through AppV?
Do you have some information on that? Dilip?
Also, the deployment kit takes the license key or something? Oh. Okay.
So the deployment kit, like you just
That's
said,
where the
the deployment
deployment
kit
kit-
handles the licensing.
Okay.
And we're assuming you're using a volume license.
Thanks.
So once it's down, it will activate.
In the example given,
So his example is with Office 2010. How does licensing work in that case? And we're saying the deployment kit contains the licensing components. So that deployment kit that gets installed, assuming you do have a volume license, it will lay down the licensing requirements and it will activate as necessary. Yeah. So that's true. This scenario is for KMS licensing, the KMS server. Yeah.
I was just kind of curious, did you guys fix a lot of the problems that we had with integrating into SharePoint?
With integrating into SharePoint. With Office 2013, you get the full.
Say that again?
With Office 2013, you get the full experience integrating into SharePoint and all of that.
So we've been running Office probably since 2006, just before you acquired them.
Okay.
It's been a very bad experience. I didn't hear anything today that was compelling enough for me to keep it in AppV. I'm probably going to be switching to SECM. I think I've been in TAP and worked with your development team, and we still had the same issues. I'd be more than willing to talk to your TAP team again, but from our experience in a university setting, we've been trying to use it since 2006. It's just been a complete nightmare. Hearing that I have to repackage to do updates as frequently as they come out on WSUS, it's kind of like a no-go for our ISO department too. I mean, that's kind of a big deal for us.
I would definitely encourage you to come talk to us at the front here. We have some people, but I do really think that the Office 2013 package that we've just released will provide a lot more compelling reasons, apart from the updates, but all the other experiences that you have, I believe they're all fixed there, but we should definitely please come front afterwards and we can talk about it.
I'd probably get with my team because I know your accelerator packs have never worked for us either. We've always had to repackage every time we're going to do something. And they specifically worked with some of your guys to figure out, it wasn't possible to do it for what we had to do, and we had to start all over again. It's just a nightmare.
Well, the beauty with Office 2013 is that now we have an AppV package that the Office team is creating for you. It has everything you need.
Yeah, we have it downloaded.
I'm really pretty confident that you should try it out, and hopefully that gives you at least some. But yeah, please come up and we can talk a bit more
Sure.
afterwards. Yeah.
I know, I hear that a lot.
It's available right now.
I know.
Don't take my word for it.
We
Please,
have it downloaded.
Try it right now.
You You guys got to realize that switching versions of Office is not always the quick and easy thing to do for the company or the, so it's not a fix-all solution.
Yeah, our upgrade path is to go from 4.6 SP2. I have to first go to SECM because we want to upgrade to AppV 5.0. I've got to go from 2007 SECM up to 2012. This is not an easy migration for us to do. And the workarounds we've done in the past, all these DSCs, talking to local applications, it's been a nightmare for us to outline our even migration path. And all the dependencies now we have, we've got to take small steps, and Office is going to be a difficult one for us, and we've been asked not only by our own group, our management, and by our Exchange team to go put it back local again because they're sick and tired of, just the little things that did not work well for us in the past. So I'll talk to your team again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be able to talk a bit more about the issues you're having and give you solutions. And we have a great migration session tomorrow. But George is right here and can answer a lot of the questions. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, in the example given where access was disabled,
Yep.
would you resequence again in order to present access to only certain people?
For that package, no. So just to be clear, your question is, for the Office 2013 package, do I need to recreate the package?
How would you present access
To people?
to a subset of people?
Oh, that dynamic deployment config file, you can update that and then republish the package. So you don't have to resequence, but you can just edit that deployment config file, and then when you republish the package, you take out the old ones and switch in the new extension points.
But wouldn't then access be available globally?
Wouldn't the access to the extension points be available globally? Yes. So what I did there, just to be clear, if the user knew exactly where the access.exe file lived, they could go to it and find it and launch it. When you globally publish a file, you can launch everything in that file. What we've done, though, is that we get rid of almost all the ways that an application or a user could try and launch it. In the same way that the early versions of Office just didn't work with anything in terms of it worked by itself, but nothing could get to it, it's that same level of isolation that we provide. But if you do find the executable as a user, you need to lock down that area, because if you don't, then I could launch it. So in the same way, if I use my deployment config file to change my extension settings and all that, I can add new extensions back and take others away. And so it's really, you need to be, know a lot about where everything is and have the access to go in and launch things as you need.
Okay.
Any more questions? Yep. Because Office is deployed globally for a given machine, that's the first question you make. If they're on different machines, then when you deploy the deployment, then you can target your deployment config to specific machines. Yes. You create a deployment config with your access, you create another one that doesn't have your access, you deploy that to your two different machines, because you're globally publishing on both machines. So that was his first question around trying to deploy to different sets of users on an RDS machine. In general, we support a deployment config for one machine. So to try and achieve that scenario, you could try and get rid of all the extension points on that deployment config and then use a user configuration to choose per user. But in general, all users will be able to launch that file in the way I explained. If they know where the launch points are, then they will be able to launch it. User published. That's true. So thanks, Dilip. I just wanted to make it clear that after a global publish is done, the client will go and perform a user publish for each user. So if you're using our server, for example, and you set a deployment config for a given package, and then you set specific user configurations for that same package, the server goes in, takes your deployment config, combines it with the manifest, and creates what the base image should be for all users on that machine. And then we now go through the user, when you log on, we go through your user configurations and then set up the extension points for your particular user. And so that's what enables us to fulfill that scenario. Okay. Sounds like
Ask a quick question.
so we have 1 minute. Or 2 minutes?
Oh, okay.
You have 2 minutes. Go on.
Maybe it'll be fast.
Yeah.
So with Click to Run and Office 365, it's almost virtualized already. It doesn't have registry or anything like that. What are the advantages of using AppV? Like, why would you use AppV?
So it was that big slide that I had stuff on.
I saw and I read it real carefully, and there was nothing different. You bolded like the same thing as the local install. It was just bolded. Okay. Okay.
Those are the two main things, yes. As Dilip said, one is controlling when updates are applied. The second is being able to target the different extensions and abilities to launch. That's the
Also, if you have, if you don't want to put it in like a gold image and you want to deliver it on the fly, that type of thing is.
you can stream it down in that way, yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay. And you had a quick question? Okay. So just to make sure I get the question properly, you're saying you use the Office deployment tool? Yep. In this version of Office 2013, not using the AppV package, but Click to Run, the AppV package. Yes. So I'm not an expert on the OCT. I don't know if you have some information.